I need you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you almost cost me my soul. I stood at the altar in a white wedding gown. The church was full. The pastor prayed. The choir sang. The ring slid onto my finger. Everyone clapped. But while heaven was silent, hell was already writing my name. What I didn't know, what no one told me, was that the man who called me his God-sent wife already had a living wife somewhere else. And when I died, Jesus Christ showed me what that marriage really was in the spirit. If you think a church wedding automatically means God approved it, please don't leave this video. Because I learned the truth after I crossed the veil, and I barely made it back. My name is Grace. I am not a pastor. I am not a prophet. I am not here to impress anyone. I am just a woman who died on a hospital bed and came back with a warning. This all began on March 14th, 2019. At the time, I was 32 years old, a devoted church-going woman, at least on the outside. I sang in the women's fellowship. I fasted sometimes. I believed in God. But like many Christian women, I was desperate to be married. I had prayed. I had cried. I had waited. And when a man came into my life quoting scriptures, speaking tongues, and kneeling to propose in church, I thought, God has finally remembered me. I was wrong. Very wrong. Before I continue, let me pause for a moment. To everyone watching, to those who keep listening, sharing, commenting, and praying over this channel, thank you. These stories are not entertainment. They are not exaggerations. They are warnings, wrapped in mercy. If you are new here, you are not here by accident. And if you are a regular subscriber, thank you for standing with us as we share testimonies that are difficult, emotional, and sometimes uncomfortable but necessary. Every comment you leave, every prayer you whisper for the storyteller, and every time you share these videos, you are helping souls wake up. May God bless you for staying to listen, because what comes next might sound familiar to your own life. Before my death, before hell, before Jesus spoke to me about my marriage, I was just a woman trying to do the right thing, but doing it the wrong way. Before everything happened, before the hospital bed, before hell opened its mouth to swallow me, I thought I was a good Christian woman. I grew up in church, Sunday school, youth fellowship, night vigils. I knew how to pray loudly and cry softly. But if I'm honest, my heart was tired. By the time I turned 30, almost all my friends were married. Baby showers replaced prayer meetings, wedding photos flooded my phone. Every family gathering came with the same question. So, Grace, when are we hearing your own good news? I laughed it off, but inside, something ugly was growing, envy mixed with fear. I loved God, yes, but I was lukewarm. I prayed, but I also panicked. I trusted God, but I secretly felt He was slow with my life. There were compromises I never told anyone. I dated men I shouldn't have. I ignored warnings from the Holy Spirit because I didn't want to be alone. I fasted about marriage, but not about obedience. And the truth? Marriage had become an idol in my heart. I told myself, at least I'm not sleeping around. I told myself, God understands my loneliness. I told myself, as long as it's done in church, it must be God. I didn't know that hell loves religious excuses. Before my experience, my view of hell was shallow. I believed it existed, but far away, from murderers, witches, armed robbers. Not for women like me, women who sang worship songs and wore long skirts. Sometimes pastors preached about hell, and I tuned out. It felt extreme, outdated, fear-based. I believed grace covered everything automatically. God is love, I used to say. God understands. But I never asked myself a hard question. Does God approve of everything I desire? Looking back now, I see the signs I ignored. When my future husband first appeared, he was everything I prayed for on paper. He spoke scripture fluently. He prayed confidently. He said God told him I was his wife. But there were gaps in his story. Whenever I asked about his past, he became vague. Whenever I asked about former relationships, he changed the subject. When I asked if he had ever been married, he said, "It's complicated, but God has delivered me." That sentence should have stopped me. But desperation has a way of silencing discernment. I didn't investigate. I didn't wait. I didn't seek confirmation beyond my emotions. I wanted the wedding more than the truth. And slowly, without realizing it, I walked straight into a spiritual trap, wearing a white dress and holding a Bible. I didn't know that heaven was watching quietly. I didn't know hell was keeping records. And I didn't know that one decision made in church would later be exposed in the depths of hell. It started like any other morning, March 14th, 2019, the day of my perfect life. I woke up excited. My dress was ready, flowers arranged, guests already traveling to the church. I remember sipping tea and thinking, God is finally answering me. Today, my prayers become reality. But that day, my body betrayed me. It was a sudden, sharp pain in my chest, unlike anything I had felt before. My vision blurred. I tried to stand, but I collapsed onto the floor. The last thing I remember in this world was the sound of my own scream fading, replaced by a deafening silence. Then, it happened. I felt myself rising, floating, detached from my body. What is happening? I thought. Am I dreaming? Am I dying? I looked down. There I was, my body lying on the floor, lifeless. My wedding dress crumpled. Tea spilled beside me. Panic gripped me. Suddenly, I was pulled. Not by hands I could see, but by an invisible force. It dragged me through a tunnel of darkness. The walls burned my eyes. The air smelled of sulfur and decay. Screams, terrible screams surrounded me, echoing endlessly. I tried to cry out, but no sound came. Every step, every movement, felt like my soul was being shredded. I was terrified. I thought, God, please, don't let me die. I'm not ready. I'm too young. But then I saw them. People, not alive, not human as I knew humans. Faces twisted in pain, eyes wide with fear, mouths open in silent agony. They were souls trapped in fire, screaming for mercy that would never come. I was descending into a place that was not meant for eyes like mine. The deeper I went, the louder the screams became. The heat was unbearable, yet my soul felt frozen in fear. I saw chains wrapped around some, while others writhed in black smoke that smelled like burning regret. And then I heard it, a voice, my own husband's voice. Or maybe it wasn't him. It was the spirit of our marriage. It whispered, "You are mine, forever. She cannot take you, yet you are mine to destroy." I froze. My heart shattered. I realized he had lied. The life he had promised me in church was a cursed deception. I screamed in my spirit, "Lord, save me, please. I didn't know." And then I saw her, the first wife, alive. Her face was pale, not smiling, but twisted in rage and sorrow. She looked at me, and I felt her pain pierce through my very being. The marriage I celebrated in the church, it was a spiritual entrapment, a chain connecting me to darkness. I was surrounded by a horde of tormented souls, but somehow I understood that my suffering was different. My punishment was not yet fixed, but I was being shown truths. I realized every compromise I had made, every hidden sin, every blind desire, it had led me here. I tried to reach out, tried to run, but the heat and the chains of spiritual deception held me down. I screamed, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." And in that moment, I felt a pressure in my chest like a hand lifting me. But it was not human. It was holy, pure, merciful. And then I heard words, not with my ears, but with my soul. "Grace, your time has not yet come, but you must see the truth and tell it." The terror was unbearable. Every scream, every fire, every twisted face etched into my mind. And then, the vision intensified. I saw the real consequences of our marriage, the chains binding me spiritually to a living wife. I saw how sin, lies, and deception were recorded in heaven and mirrored in hell. It was more than emotional. It was spiritual reality. I felt my soul being torn in two directions, one toward the fire, one toward mercy. And that is where Jesus Christ appeared. But I will tell you about that in the next chapter, where he spoke to me and the truth about that marriage was revealed. I don't know how long I had been in that place. Seconds, minutes, eternity itself. Time did not exist there. Only terror, fire, and screams. Then a light appeared. Not like the sunlight I knew. Not soft or warm. It was piercing, pure, and alive. It cut through the darkness and the smoke, and in its brilliance, I felt a weight lift from my soul. And then I heard him, "Grace, my daughter." It was a voice that shook every fiber of my being, yet filled me with peace. I knew instantly it was Jesus. I fell to my knees, not physically, but in spirit. I wept. "Lord, please, save me. I'm sorry. I didn't know." He didn't rebuke me immediately. Instead, he allowed me to see everything. First, the man I had married. I saw him as he truly was, not the charming churchman, not the loving fiancé, but a man bound in deception and sin. Then, the first wife. She was alive, living a life I had never even imagined. But in the spirit, I felt her pain, her betrayal, and her prayers for justice. And Jesus said, with a voice both gentle and piercing, "Grace, this marriage was never mine. You married a lie. You stepped into what was already bound by another." Many women have sought happiness, thinking, "My house and my altar protect them." But obedience is greater than sacrifice. You were blind because of desire, not because of me. I fell silent. My spirit trembled. My heart ached with shame, fear, and sorrow. "Lord, what happens now?" I whispered. He lifted me higher in the light and showed me the consequences of sin hidden behind religion. Every tear I had cried for marriage. Every prayer I had whispered. Every compromise I had made. He showed me that hell watches when hearts are deceived. And then he spoke directly about my husband's lies. "He has deceived you, but my mercy has not left you. He married you in the flesh, but I never joined you in the spirit. The first bond still exists. Your heart could have been lost here if you had not called my name. You must tell my people, hell is real. Sin masquerades as blessing. Desires unchecked can lead to eternal regret." I saw chains connected to the man, spiritual chains from his lies and sins that could have dragged me into hell if I had not called out to Jesus. "Go back, Grace," he said. "Go back and warn my children. Many will follow appearances and sermons thinking they are safe. They are not. You must tell them." I felt a warmth spread through me, like liquid light. And slowly, the fire, the screams, and the weight of hell began to release me. Before I opened my eyes back in my hospital bed, Jesus whispered one final thing. "Do not mourn the betrayal alone. Preach my mercy, my truth, and my judgment. The church can hold many, but the heart I see is what counts." And then I was back. My body gasped, my heart pounding. Nurses were screaming my name. My hands were cold, my dress soaked with sweat. I had been clinically dead for 20 minutes, but in my spirit, I carried a revelation, a warning, and a mission. The marriage, it was a spiritual deception. The first wife, alive. The man I trusted, bound in sin. And me, I was given another chance to walk in truth, to warn others, and to live fully surrendered to God. When I opened my eyes in that hospital room, I knew immediately. I had come back, but I was not the same person. My chest burned as if fire had passed through it. My throat was dry. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. Nurses hovered around me, voices overlapping. "She's back. Pulse is stable. Can you hear me, ma'am?" I could hear them, but my mind was still somewhere else. Hell had not stayed behind when I returned. It followed me in memories, in smells, in sudden waves of fear. For days, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the screams again. Not loud, worse than loud, hopeless. I kept seeing chains. I kept seeing fire. I kept hearing Jesus say, "This marriage was never mine." When my so-called husband came to the hospital, holding flowers and pretending concern, something inside me recoiled. I looked at him, and all I could see was deception. The charm that once comforted me now felt heavy. His prayers felt empty. His touch made my spirit shrink. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I simply knew. Discernment had been activated by fire. Within weeks, the truth came out fully, undeniably. The first wife was real, alive, still legally married to him. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He cried. He begged. He said God would fix it. But I remembered what Jesus said. "I never joined you in the spirit." I walked away. Not easily, not without tears, but without doubt. That decision cost me friendships. Some people blamed me. Some said I should pray it through. Others accused me of being unforgiving. But hell had taught me something this world never could. Peace is better than pretending. Truth is better than status. Obedience is better than desperation. Spiritually, everything changed. I stopped negotiating with God. I stopped justifying small sins. I stopped chasing appearances. I fasted not for blessings, but for cleansing. I prayed not to be seen, but to survive. I read my Bible like someone searching for oxygen. One verse haunted me constantly. Many will say to me on that day, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name?" And then I will declare to them, "I never knew you." Matthew 7:22-23. Hell made that verse real. I became quieter, but stronger. Softer, but unmovable. I no longer envied married women. I no longer feared being alone. I feared disobedience more than loneliness. My prayer changed from, "Lord, give me what I want. Lord, don't let me want what will destroy me." If you are listening to me now, hear this carefully. Hell is real. It is not a story, not a metaphor, not a warning for someone else. It is a place of pain, regret, and eternal consequences. I thought I was safe because I was in church. I thought I was righteous because I fasted, prayed, and sang hymns. I thought grace covered all my mistakes automatically. I was wrong. Jesus showed me that religion without discernment is dangerous. A church wedding does not guarantee God's approval. A smile, a ring, and a prayer cannot hide the chains of deception and sin. Do not be deceived. God cannot bless a sin disguised as a blessing. Jesus Christ, revealed in my near-death experience. I saw firsthand what happens when desire overtakes obedience. I saw what lies, pride, and unexamined hearts do in the spirit. And I saw the mercy of God, who pulled me from the flames because I cried out his name. If you are a Christian, do not ignore hell. Do not ignore sin. Do not assume because you are in church, everything is okay. If you are lost, God still calls you. He still gives mercy. He still waits. But the time will come when mercy is withdrawn. Repent now. Obey now. Do not wait until it is too late. I am alive to tell you. Your soul matters more than appearances, weddings, or desires. Your eternity is at stake. I want you to sit with this for a moment. A man smiled at me in church. A pastor prayed over us. A choir sang. But the truth, what Jesus revealed to me in hell, was far different from what my eyes saw. This is why I tell you my story today. Not for sympathy, not for drama, but so that your soul wakes up before it is too late. Ask yourself, do you believe hell is real? Are you living in sin disguised as blessing? Are you following desires or following God? Because the church, the altar, the ring, they cannot save you if your heart is blind. I am alive today because I cried out His name. I am alive today because God still shows mercy to those who are willing to see the truth. But I am also a warning. Do not test His patience. Do not take sin lightly. Please take a moment and reflect. Share your thoughts below. Ask questions. Pray together. Talk about what matters your soul, your obedience, your eternity. Thank you for listening. May God keep you safe, alert, and ready. Until next time, stay ready. Hell is real, and Jesus is alive.